from just being a credit firm is transiting into trying to be a tech savvy firm, and we are doing a lot of transition, trying to bring in fintech into the business, and I'm just trying to see how I can fit in very well, and also be part of the company as it grows. Yeah, so that's just it.
Sorry, I didn't know I was muted. Diola Dollars, you have the floor. Can you tell us about yourself? Why cybersecurity?
Hi everyone. Hi Helen. My name is Jela. I am a marketing consultant transitioning into tech. Why cybersecurity? Well, I would say I'm just transitioning into tech. So to be honest, I'm learning a few things. So I'm learning on the front end, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And I know I have like interest in cybersecurity. So it's more like I want to have the knowledge on how it works.
Okay, maybe I should not ask the question why cybersecurity anyway, just to know your background. I think that would, would be okay. You. Yeah. Koya, is it Koya? Yeah. Koya, you have the floor. Just your name and what you do at the moment.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Koya Gabriels. Presently, I'm a digital marketer and a UI UX developer. But I'm thinking of integrating cybersecurity as it affects web designs and every other area. So basically, it's just expanding my interest and getting to know more about security and the cyber world.
Okay, so when UI UX developer, does that mean that you have some scripting or programming experience a bit?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Maybe HTML with CSS.
With CSS. About JavaScript, do you have?
Very little experience in JavaScript.
Yeah, but it's something you're working on. Okay, fine. So the reason why I'm asking is I'm just trying to know everyone's background, and I can advise on what area of cybersecurity I think you could actually start with. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to understand everyone's background.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So for Diola and Koya, they both have some JavaScript experience. That's fine. Sorry, Albert, Chuka, Priscilla, I did not get your background. I mean, I didn't note that.
Okay, I said, and I don't really have much experience in it. It's just that my company is trying to switch to a fintech company, being a credit. So I'm trying to develop interest in it and see how it could help me also fit in as my company expands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Anyangbemi Ezekiel, if you can hear your ears, you have the floor. Okay, so let's move to Adedayo Isaac. You have the floor. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your background? Hi, Adedayo. Okay, Adedayo is not here. Rachel Bamigboye, can you have the floor. You can talk. Let's say a bit about your background and how you can get started with cybersecurity. Okay, Tunde. Hi, Tunde, can you hear us? Okay, it seems we are here, but I've only been able to get the attention of 3 participants. Okay, Adedayo, do you want to talk? Hi, Adedayo.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. Good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, actually, I'm just joining, and I actually didn't know what is going on, but I could hear when you said I should share a bit about my experience. Is it based on this particular program going on, or just general? That's what I want to get, please.
Oh no, just your past experience, not about this program. So the reason why I'm asking is because I want to understand where we're all coming from, and I can advise on what part of cybersecurity I think you could start with, because cybersecurity has different domains, right? And based on interest and experience and everything, I could kind of advise on, say, okay, you can actually start from this aspect of cybersecurity, then you can now move your way up from there. So that's what I'm asking about everyone's experience.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry again. I would like to ask again. I'm actually for the class of PM, that's product management, but I don't know if this is a general class for every participant, either you are product design, PM, or cybersecurity.
No.
So I want to ask, is this just general, or this is for the class of cybersecurity? So
this is cybersecurity class. Sorry, it's a cybersecurity class.
All right. Yeah. I guess I'm missing out then. So I have to just go look for my link so I can join the right class.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, who is next? We have, okay, Ezekiel, you have the floor, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Ezekiel Ayongbeni. I finished service 2 years ago, and well, I noticed I had this flair for cybersecurity, though I've read a lot about Kali Linus, and I think I can pretty much use Kali Linus. And currently I'm learning HTML, CSS, though I'll be moving to JavaScript in the next, let me say 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. Once I'm done with CSS.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, thank you for that. I think Ezekiel has spoken. Sheyi, I think Sheyi Lagoke, can you please tell us about yourself?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, my name is Sheyi Lagoke. I'm a microbiologist, but currently transitioning into tech.
Okay.
I have HTML and CSS background. I finished that 2 weeks ago, and I'm currently learning UI from Figma.
Okay.
Adobe Illustrator.
Okay, Figma, Shay, does that mean that you want to join product design or product management class, or are you?
No, I want to join cybersecurity, although I've not had any knowledge concerning cybersecurity, but
okay.
I have interest in it.
All right. Okay, I get it now. Thank you, everyone. I think Shay, Ezekiel, OS, Tunde. I think I've not heard from Tunde. Tunde, you have the floor. Hi, Tunde, can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm just a novice, a newbie to cybersecurity, but I have some few experience in technologies.
Okay.
From infrastructure management, DevOps, and the likes. but I just want to know what's going on with cybersecurity.
Oh, good. DevOps. Okay, that's fine. All right. Thank you, everyone. So let's get started. I think I have everyone here. All right. Thank you for the introduction. And the reason why I asked really is just to be able to advise. I won't say decide for you anyway. Decide or advise on what area of cybersecurity you can actually start from. And I say start from in the sense that in cybersecurity, you have the opportunity to move across all domains, right? But it's good to start from somewhere. And that is why I actually asked that question, just to see the easiest part that you can start with. So let's start. So this was all about introduction to cybersecurity, why cybersecurity, why the company embraces cybersecurity, and what are the cybersecurity teams in the organization. And also I'm talking about roles in cybersecurity, and also skills required to transition into these roles, and certifications, because cybersecurity is a kind of how do I put it? It's a career path that requires certifications. Not because certifications will give you the knowledge required per se. However, it gets to the interviews though. I think that is the most important thing about certification, and it actually forces you to read, to study, right, beyond whatever you do. So cybersecurity, number one, you have to have flair for reading. I mean, you have to, one of your hobbies should be reading and researching. And if that's not part of your hobby now, I would advise or plead that we kind of add it to our hobby, because you have to read a lot. You have to do research a lot in cybersecurity, maybe because it's still a new field, not new per se, but it's new and promising field, right? So a lot of new things are coming up every now and then. So you have to keep yourself updated. However, certifications also might give you the knowledge, the basic and theoretical knowledge required to do your daily work, apart from it getting into the interview though. And then I would also introduce also the platform that we'll be using for this mentorship session. And then next week, we will definitely start proper. What is cybersecurity? And this is from internet. Cybersecurity refers to protecting systems connected to the internet from threats in cyberspace. It involves protecting software, data, and hardware, and help prevent cyber criminals from gaining access to the device or the network. From the word security, security means secure your organization assets, secure your PII, your information, secure your credit card data, secure your organization data and information, secure your company's network, your company's application, secure everything, including physical security. Because there is a standard called ISMS that also speaks about physical security in a working place. Even if we have everything secured, your data is secure, we have all the necessary controls in place to secure everything, and physical security is not considered, that might be like a loophole in your security process. For instance, a company that has data center and there is no physical security in place as to entering the data center, like anybody can just enter the data center, it's a flag, because if a malicious guy or a bad guy gain access to your data center and just unplug everything, that would cause availability failure. Or say, for instance, copy all the data in your storage devices or disconnect network, for instance. A lot of things might happen and it might cause business disruption. And the reason for cybersecurity is not just for financial gain access alone. We're also trying to prevent business disruption where you want your business to continue as it ought to be with little or no downtime. And that is why cybersecurity is really important. So why cybersecurity? In cybersecurity, this I mean, if you say you're a cybersecurity expert, one thing an interviewer will ask you, or one thing you should have on top of your mind, just like when they say, what is your name? You don't have to think about, my name is Ellen. It's something that is part and parcel of you. And such is when they ask you, what are the goals of cybersecurity? This, if you don't know anything today, I think you should have these 3 things in mind. I mean, these 3 goals in mind, and that should be like a take home for everybody, right? Even if you're not going to gain any other thing I said today, but this is as important as what is your name when you want to get started with cybersecurity. And the 3 goals of cybersecurity is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We used to call it CIA triad, like a triangle that has confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And whatever process you have in place in your organization, whatever controls you have in place, be it a security architect, a DevSecOps, a security engineer, everybody has 3 goals in mind. And these are the 3 goals: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And I would explain these 3 goals to further buttress why they are the goals of cybersecurity. Confidentiality, majorly, it's saying you want to prevent an unauthorized person to have access to unauthorized information. An example would be, and I would just use our number, I would kind of relate it to our everyday life. We all have our banking application, our bank application on our phones, and you don't want your sister to have access to your bank application. That means you are the only person authorized to access your bank application. You are the only person authorized to transfer funds from your bank account. You're the only person authorized to request for account statements. If a third party have access to that, that has violated the confidentiality goals of cybersecurity. Another example would be, there is a particular PC, your phone. Your phone is saying you need to use fingerprints because it's saying, even if at all, if anybody, say for instance, you misplace your phone tomorrow, nobody should be able to have access to your phone, to your contacts directory, to your messages and everything, except you. And that is the goal of confidentiality, because you don't want anybody to have access to confidential information that you have on your phone. And so you have to prevent unauthorized access to, unauthorized access from your phone, right? And that is confidentiality, preventing unauthorized access, unauthorized person to have access to unauthorized information. Integrity means, if I say a data is 120 MB, that data remains 120 MB. Even though I transfer the data from user A to user B, the integrity of the data is never tampered with. So an example would be our PII information, your personal identifiable information, for instance. My name is Helen Oluyemi, and it's spelled Helen Oluyemi. If tomorrow somebody now had double L to my name, my name has been tampered with, because Helen is my official name, or that is what there is. And tomorrow somebody tried to edit the name and put Hellen. That means the integrity, security controls has been violated. Another example would be, say for instance, you're trying to transfer a document to your HR, right? And I will still use the word Helen. And the way you kind of send the key to your HR or the information is capital Helen. And your HR now sees small letter ELEN and capital letter H. Even if it's still spelled as Ellen, the fact that something has changed from capital letter to a small letter, the information has been tampered with. So the information has no integrity. And in information security, there's a way we normally check if a particular data has been tampered with or has been modified. And that is what we call hash value. We try to compare hash value of a particular data to another data. And let me try and escape. I just want to show us something around this hash value. So for instance, oh, you can't see my screen, sorry. Let me share my whole screen. Stop sharing.
We can see your screen actually.
Oh, the screen or just the presentation?
We could actually see you opening Google.
Oh,
trying to
okay.
search something. So.
Oh, okay. Let me continue and share my screen. I thought I shared only my Google Chrome. So I just want to show us something around hash value, right? How do we compute hash value? So, e.g., if I try to download, I'm just looking for, can anybody just advise on a very small application? Can anybody advise on a small application?
Notepad++.
Okay, thank you. Download Notepad++ for Windows. Yeah. Download. There is, okay, this Notepad++ is not giving us the hash value of that. Okay, let's also do hash value example. I'm trying to give you something. I can't think of a particular example in my head, but let's continue. I will definitely show you that. If not now, I will show you in our next class. I just need a particular example. But what I'm trying to explain is, say for instance, if I download this Notepad++, right? When I download this particular document, how do I know if this information has not been tampered with while downloading it? So most of the time, there are some sites, I'm sure of Kali Linux, there are some sites that if you download, if they give you the installer file of a particular source code or application, they will give you the hash value, right? And once you are done downloading the application, for you to confirm if that information has not been tampered with, it's not because an hacker tampered with the information. It might be maybe while downloading it, there is a network latency and network disruption, and you could not download the full package file. There is a way you will do it on your command window, I mean your command prompts, to check if that hash value of the file you just downloaded is the same thing as the hash value of the file the file owner gave you. Let me know that as an assignment, and that will be the first thing we will do next week. I will look for a simple example now to calculate hash value to compare if a particular file has been tampered with or not. So, but let's continue. We have that in mind. Yeah, I will have that in mind. Let me note it down. Let's go back to full screen. So I'm trying to go back to full screen. Okay, I think my PC is angry. Okay, so let me see, just continue this way, pending the time the full screen would appear. So that's integrity. And integrity could be as small as if I have, since you can see my screen, this information I have here, for instance, all this information I have here, right? If the hash value of this information is, let's say 1, 2, 3, or it's a whole lot of long value of 128-bit length, right? Of 128-bit length. And I send this particular document to any one of you guys. Say I send it to Koya, for instance, and Koya tried to, is just trying to edit the document before he sent it over to every other person. And because of this no EXP, or Koya even tries to change no EXP to capital no EXP, if you recompute the hash value, it will definitely change. It will not be the same thing because Koya has tried to change a small letter X and P to a capital letter X and P. And that means the integrity of the file has been violated. The file has been modified. So that is integrity. Availability is saying a service is available when needed. An example would be, you want to log into your UBA online banking, for instance, or Stanbic online banking, and you cannot reach that website. That means availability controls has been violated. And how does this happen in information security? There are a lot of examples. An example would be an hacker trying to bring down a particular website, or an activist. Activist is somebody trying to do performing a malicious act in a political way. Okay, I would use an example of Nigeria, PDP and APC. I wouldn't even mention, let's just use party. APC has their own website, PDP has their own website. However, and maybe tomorrow's election, PDP is saying we don't want APC websites to be available when people need to vote for APC. And so they hire an activist and say, can you please break down APC websites, such that if people are trying to log into APC websites, they would not have access to it, and they wouldn't have a choice and just to go to PDP and just vote for whosoever wants to take the votes in PDP. That is like an activism, right? And it might not even be a malicious act, really. It might just be that, for instance, federal government is saying there is this job application for everyone above 18 years, and it's going to pay you 1 million naira per month. And you just add about it now. And the link will expire 12 a.m. or 1:59 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. today. And so, since we have a lot of unemployed people in Nigeria and everything, a lot of people just want to just quickly log in and, they want to register their name and put in for the application. However, maybe the bandwidth of that website application is not large enough to accommodate a lot of requests at the same time. And that is why when you try to log into some job website, it's just saying not available, or yes, I mean, that this particular website is not available. It's not because somebody intentionally bring down the system. It's all because a lot of requests to that web URL, it's more than what the web application can handle at the same time. And therefore, it's kind of bring down the server. Just like I can only take in 5 people per time, and I'm getting requests from 1 million person per time, I will definitely go down. So it should just bring me down automatically. And then if people cannot reach it and people take back their requests for a while, and only 5% requests, I can come up and respond to such a request. So availability might not be malicious. It can be malicious and it might not be malicious, depending on the application or the resources in question. Another example would be, for instance, in your organization, let me even use something that we can relate to. In your organization, you on tomorrow morning, which is on Monday, you try to access your Outlook application or your web application, your email clients. You could not access it. it might not be because somebody bring down your email client. It might just be maybe there's a network connectivity failure, or IT is trying to do some upgrade, and because of that, you cannot even send mails to your customers when you needed to send mails to customers, or you trying to access a bank application but it's down. That means the availability controls has been violated. So goals of cybersecurity is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And about the integrity, by next week, I will show us how we can actually compare hash value of one file to another and see how this works in reality on integrity. Okay, sorry, before I continue, do you have any question? Do we have any question?
I was going to ask if confidentiality or integrity can be conflicted with each other or can be used interchangeably.
No, it cannot be used interchangeably. Okay, confidentiality is saying only authorized person have access to an information, right? And integrity is saying a particular information has not been tampered with or modified. Do you get that?
Yeah, got it. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else do we have anybody that wants to ask a question? Anybody question?
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So please, for instance, presently, in recent time at my office, anytime I try to access some particular websites, there's always this feedback that tells me that I can't reach those websites. Not because the internet is not good, but it always tells me that there's security issue with such websites. Domain name system is one-to-one, and it always comes up with one DNS issue like this. But I realized that when you deactivate antivirus, at that point in time, you're able to then connect. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So could this be as a result of is it integrity or availability, or what is it called? Where do you classify this as?
Okay, so in a case where there is an antivirus system in place that will enable you to reach a particular website, it's not integrity, right? I would say the antivirus is saying it's a confidentiality issue. Confidentiality in the sense that there is a control in place for an antivirus solution that is saying only a particular IP can reach this particular destination. That means that particular or a list of IP addresses are the authorized IP that can access a particular information, right? But since you've disabled your antivirus, that means there is no control in place as to which IP can reach that particular DNS you're trying to access. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it could also fall into availability in the sense that maybe, just maybe, while that virus control is in place, IT did not properly define the control and say, antivirus should not block access to this particular DNS. And that means you as an authorized person, you're trying to access a particular destination. And because there is a control in place that is affecting the availability, it's not giving you the resources when needed. You need the resources, you need a particular website as, say, 4 p.m., but because there is a control in place, antivirus control in place, you could not access it. That might also be an availability issue. So it's not integrity, it comes between confidentiality or availability, depending on the motive of that antivirus.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay, so I will take that as no question for now. And like I said, if there is something you should take home today, is the CIA triad, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. You can check Google, everybody will tell you CIA. Yeah, there are other A parts, which is the authorization or authentication, but availability comes first, right? I'm sure during this 8-week or 10 weeks mentorship program, we definitely have something to do with authentication and authorization, and also accounting, like auditing. We definitely have something to do with that. So the CIA, then we now have AAA. The remaining AAA is authorization, authentication, and accounting. I would explain how that works in line with CIA, which is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Cybersecurity teams in the organization. It all depends on how big the organization is, right? However, cybersecurity, we have 3 major teams. We have the red team, we have the purple team, and we have the blue team. And in some companies, maybe a startup, they might say, one person should be everything. You can actually be a pen tester. You can be the one defending and the one attacking at the same time. I also the one doing the controls, like the documentations and keeping check of everything. But in a proper company, this should be different roles entirely, because the red team means the offensive attack team. People trying to break a system, break control, they're trying to break a particular control, just like Koya said, he disabled antivirus. You've actually broken a particular control, because your company organization is saying we have antivirus in place to protect some things of some access into particular destination. But disabling that control means you've done some offensive attack, right? It might not be malicious, and it might be malicious, right? Maybe what you did was not malicious, but it's still an offensive process, like trying to hack. You've already hacked the antivirus by disabling it, and then you can access your DNS server. So offensive is, and what do we mean by offensive attack team? It all includes ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is you are hacking a particular resources or application. However, it is a known, for a known intent, right? Like you're not doing it because you're a bad guy. And an example would be when a developer develops his or her application, and before we deploy the application on production, we need a pen tester in-house to help us check if all controls has been in place, like if everything is fine, e.g., your application takes in username and password, and you want to prevent that web app from SQL injection, from cross-site scripting, a lot of web attacks methodology. We definitely mentioned that during the course of this mentorship program. And we need red team people to help us check that everything is in place and all controls has been fixed. There is no security loopholes. That's ethical hacking. And in this case, most times, if you are a pen tester in your organization, once you are done with this test, an organization will still have to take this particular application to a third party. So that means you can either be a pen tester in-house or a pen tester as a consultant. And the reason why they take this application to a third party is they need like a second validation and verification that security controls has been validated. So once you come with your report and say, okay, we have 3 vulnerabilities, right? So we have 3 issues, and blue team take up this issue, or purple team take up this issue to the developers, and they fix it. We now need to take this application to a third party to confirm if we don't have any other issue, like a second highs, right? And that also involves pen testing, ethical hacking. They're like interchangeable terms. We have black box testing. So black box testing is a type of pen testing. And I would say we have black box testing, we have white box testing, we have gray box testing. Let me just quickly explain, but we'll definitely still come across it during this 8 weeks program if time permits. Black box testing is, I'm just saying, hey, Koya, hey, Rachel, this is this application, test it for any security vulnerability. I did not give you any information about it. Or I'm just saying, the name of my company is UBA. Can you test if we have any vulnerability or any security issues in our organization or on our mobile app? I didn't give you any information. You only have access like a normal user. That means it's a black box test. You don't even know what you're testing for. You don't have a built background of how the database structure is, what language is the application being developed with. You don't know anything about it. That's black box testing. Gray box is I give you a bit of information and say, okay, this is our web app. The database is the backend is SQL, and the what's it called? The programming language is, say, Java, and the IP address is or I even give you an IP address that could reach the database, that could reach the backend. That means I'm giving you a bit of information on this application, and I'm telling you to test it. That is gray box testing. White box testing, on the other hand, is I gave you access to everything. You have control over everything, and I'm still telling you to test this particular application, assuming you have access rights. That is white box testing. Social engineering is also a form of offensive attack, and it just requires you manipulating humans. Like saying, for instance, I'm trying to manipulate one of us here and say, what is your name? What's your date of birth? What is this? What is that? And I know that most likely your date of birth might be your ATM PIN. For instance, say you are born 2012. I know that your ATM PIN might be 22012. And once I have access to your ATM, I can use that information to withdraw out your money. Or I might say, what is the date of birth? And you said, yeah, May 13. You might most likely be using 0513 or 1305. I just want to know what you like, right? And I can use that to exploit you and get access to what I need to get access to. Or say, for instance, you like to post on social media or do a lot of things on social media, and I can use that one to track your life. I'm like, oh, you are not in Lagos at the moment. Apparently, you are not in the office. You must have been on holiday. You just said, oh, I took 10 days leave. I'm now in Canada, or I'm in whatsoever. And I've always wanted to maybe use your email address in my organization, for instance, or your organization. And you work with UBA Bank. I can quickly go and check UBA Bank's domain online, right? And I know your first name and your last name. Definitely I know that your official email address is helenoluyemi@ubabank.com. All I need is your password. And if I know a bit about you, you might most likely use your password as your first name and your last name, that kind of a thing. However, I think companies are smart now. We have password policies in place that would not even allow people to use a simple password as their main password. We'll talk about that one as well during the course of this training. Web app scanning is just me scanning, using any of the vulnerability scanning machine to scan a particular web application to detect if there's any vulnerabilities in the organization. And vulnerability exploitation is when I see a security issue, I try to exploit it. When I see that you have a particular port being open on your system, say for instance, port 80, which transmits information in a clear text. That means if you input your username and your password, I can see your password in a clear text. I can exploit that particular port and perform what I really want to do. So that is red team. Red team, they're just the offensive guy. They just want to break the system. They look for any way to break, any means, anything to break the system. Those are the offensive ones. And it can be malicious or non-malicious. Purple team, however, okay, let me explain blue team. Blue team are the defensive people, like they're trying to defend anything. When they say Russia people are coming to Nigeria today or whatever, we try to block, we try to have security controls in place. We have tall fence, we have CCTV camera, that kind of a thing. And we have policemen and soldiers on each post, like 24/7, monitoring those people with big guns and everything. Those are the blue team. We defend. I use we because I'm more experienced on the defensive side than the offensive side, right? So all we do is to defend. We try to look for loopholes. Whenever red team says there is a loophole, we block it, right? Or we are always at the gates trying to look at you, e.g. your firewall, trying to say you want to log into our internal network, but because we have a firewall in place, as it's saying, we cannot allow any IP address except IP address coming from a particular, maybe a particular subnet, and say we are saying we can only allow IP address from 80.80.80.80, and you're coming from 192.196 or 192.168. It will not allow you. That is defensive. We are always at the gate trying to block attackers from attacking us, right? That's the layman term. And it's all around infrastructure security, damage control, incident response, threat hunting, digital forensic. And digital forensic means even though attacker, if they're able to attack us today, right, we take it as lesson learned, right? And we try to investigate more on that particular incident and put necessary controls in place to ensure that tomorrow they will not be able to attack us through that means. So that is the blue team, guys. Purple team, however, are in between red team and blue team. Purple team is saying, okay, red team is saying, hi, Ellen, or Ellen is in purple team. We found 4 issues on your application. And purple team takes that particular report. They take it to blue team and say, blue team, fix this issue, right? And once blue team is done with fixing it, we take the report back to purple team. Purple team now tells red team that the issue has been fixed. Red team can go ahead and reconfirm again by performing the same attacking and pen testing to be sure that we fix the issue. But another thing that purple team does is, most times, because we are security team, right, we don't really like red team giving us direction, that kind of a team. And blue team does not also like saying, you think you cannot attack you guys when we attack you. So we are like cat and rats. We like each other and we don't like each other. So in a way, blue team is trying to say, you cannot break into this system. And red team is saying, do you think we don't know what we are doing? We can break into the system. So there's always like a conflict of, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing between the two teams. But what red team does is they try to balance it. So for instance, red team might say, you have port 80 open. I will be like, we like that port 80 being opened. We have reason for that. Or we should just ignore red team and say, you guys don't know what you're doing. And we didn't fix it. Purple team tries to keep us in check. Like, are you following the right security procedure? Another thing would be to log into your computer, I'm just looking for an example. You need to use 2FA authentication, right? Purple team is ensuring that you guys are doing what you ought to do. And they don't just do it often. There's always security guidelines, security frameworks that they do follow. We have different frameworks. We have the ISMS framework, which is the ISO 27001. We have NIST framework. We have COSO, which is COSO, which is for the risk management framework. We have ITIL framework, a lot of framework. We have PCI DSS standards that these people follow. They follow the requirement and they try to keep both red team and blue team in check. And the reason why I was asking us about our background is just to know, say for instance, if maybe you've not been in tech before and you are not too sure you want to start learning programming, or you want to start knowing a lot of technical things, or you don't even have flair for tech and you like cybersecurity. Yes, you can still do cybersecurity. However, you'll definitely be in the purple team within the governance, risk and compliance, keeping both red team and blue team in check. But the kind of person that likes to break system, you like to always attack. Like, that's kind of fascinating. How do I put it? Like, tickle your fancy. Like, you like to always, try a lot of things, try to break controls and everything. You might find yourself in red team, and that means you have to understand a lot of things about computing. You have to understand OS, you have to understand programming, and a lot of things. Even blue team as well. Blue team nowadays now needs to understand programming, because whenever red team builds like a script, a malicious script, like a virus script, and if blue team receives this particular script, for them to understand how to defend it, they need to be able to do something we call reverse engineering. Like whenever a red team or a bad guy build a malware, we need to be able to reverse the malware and understand how this malware works. And with that, we can understand how we can actually protect ourselves, or what are the controls we need to put in place to defend against that particular malware. So everybody, red team, purple team, blue team, we all work hand in hand to ensure a safe data or a safe application in an organization. Any question before I move to roles in cybersecurity?
Hello, please, I have a question.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I wanted to ask regarding SOC analysts.
Okay.
What is it about?
So SOC analysts, majorly, they are the blue team guys. So what SOC analyst does is we monitor logs, and an instance would be, say for instance, you are an attacker, right? You are the bad guy. You are trying to access our Active Directory. And because you don't even have password or username or anything, you are just trying to look for a way to get into our network. And you're always looking for the weakest link, e.g., you send a phishing email to an employee and that person did not understand security, and the person click on a malicious link. And once the person click on it, maybe it's even redirect the person to a page to input username and password, and the person just input username and password, thinking he or she is doing it on a legitimate application, right? As the hacker, you've gotten that person's username and password, and then you now use that username and password to log into the environment, right? But just because you don't even have administrative rights, at that moment, you are trying to elevate your privilege. What SOC analyst does is they see all this malicious or unusual behavior and they flag it. For instance, Ellen is always a user. I've never logged into AD before because I'm an HR, I don't need to log into an AD. All of a sudden, my credential is trying to log into AD or has been able to have access to AD. SOC analysts will pick that kind of unusual behavior up and investigate. Helen, why are you logging into AD? It might be legitimate. It might be that Helen has moved from HR to IT department, for instance. That might be a legitimate action, but you are not aware of. And in that case, you can put that control. Okay, Helen can log into AD. So SOC analyst majorly is trying to always be on the gates, looking for tips or trying to prevent thieves from entering. Like we're like a physical security, like a policeman at the security gate, or the security man at the gate, trying to check everybody before you enter the building. So that's SOC analyst in a nutshell.
All right, thank you.
The question? Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, any other question? Any other question before we move on?
What's the meaning of a SOC analyst?
Okay, SOC analyst is Security Operations Center analyst.
Okay.
Like you analyze anything going in security operations, department.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any other question? Okay, so roles in cybersecurity, and I think we can even see SOC analysts here too, but in this case, they call them incident analyst or responder. You respond to any kind of attack. You analyze any kind of incidents, right? The IP address is logging in more than 20 times. Something is phishing. Why would you forget? I mean, a user is trying to log into an email address and there are already three attempts, login fail attempts. And you're still trying, or you're trying to log in 50 times within 1 second. That means there is a brute force attack in place. Something is happening. And so can will be like, this is so unusual. Because we have tools, we have security solution tools that can help you analyze this. They're all AI-driven tools, right? We also call this user UEBA, user entity behavior analysis, that could just do a lot of analysis, data analysis, and predict if this thing is normal or abnormal behavior. And whenever there is an abnormal behavior, you get alerts. And SOC analysts too, we also try to train our data. We try to create a lot of rules. We are not just sitting down and saying we are waiting for somebody to log in. No, we create different rules. We create different scenarios based on what the pen tester said, right? Or based on what our consultant advised us to do, or based on what we do in our organization. We create rules and say, if A is this, alert us. Else, don't give us an alert. So we create a lot of rules, and rules means what SOC analyst does is we get a lot of logs from all applications, from our database, from firewall, from network devices, from Active Directory, from your cloud resources, a lot of things. And then you now correlate everything into one single thing called SIEM solution, SIEM. And SIEM solution aggregates all these logs, right, into a single dashboard. From there, we have visibility into what is happening. Hi, Sunday. Okay, talking to me. Then we have visibility around what is happening in the organization. Don't worry, I think right now from our question, I think I kind of understand. I think I need to explain, give you some explanation on all these terms before we even start the real work, really. So I would definitely work on that, content on that. That is like incident analyst or responder. A cybercrime analyst or investigator might still fall under incident analyst, depending on how wide the company is. We call them forensic analysts. Some people perform forensic, right? And some SOC analysts also do forensic, depending on how much the organization is willing to spend on their team. So we might have different, they might even break red and blue team into different roles, right? We have IT auditor. IT auditor fall under the purple team. The purple team might be an IT auditor. There might be a consultant, right? The purple team might be a risk analyst, a lot of things, depending on how wide the organization is. And then the red team, majorly they are the pen tester, vulnerability tester. Whenever you say there is an issue in the system, pen tester will try to test and confirm if that thing is true, or they try to even exploit it further. They are always breaking system, try to break controls, and just try to say, Ellie, you need to look at this thing. There's a loophole, you need to block it. And cybersecurity engineer, cybersecurity architects, they are now like different roles under blue team, right? And when an analyst is trying to monitor, we monitor security incidents, an engineer might be the one configuring those rules or trying to configure okay, when I said we correlate logs from different applications, an engineer might be the one to correlate this thing, might be the one to ingest or pass all the PARSC, pass all the data into this SIEM solution, while your work might be to just monitor, right? An architect might be the one to define how our security structure should look like. E.g., if you are working from Nigeria, you should be able to, if you want to access our cloud environment, you should have MFA in place, multi-factor authentication, in the sense that log in with your username and password, and then you have to share your location, or you have to use authenticator like Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator to log in. Architect might say only Ellen and Koya can access this particular resources, while others can access this particular. An architect will just define. What they do is they kind of bring the whole department in, not department, the whole network, our organization network and security network in place in their head, and they try to structure everything for us and try to. We also see them as a pen tester, right? They try to do some threat modeling, like, oh, this thing, there might be an issue from this angle. They just advise, and architect is like I would say, is like the top of the technical role team, because automatically they have idea around all other roles, or they've actually been a system admin before, they've done a lot of things, a programmer before, they understand mostly everything in tech, right? And because of that, they can discern or tell you what you need to do or how you need to structure your network. And then once they give you that architectural overview of your organizational network, then everybody can pick up one or two things and fix everything. So one day, like I told myself, if I really want to push this technical cybersecurity in the nearest future, I see myself as an architect. However, if I don't want to do the technical parts, I see myself moving back to GRC and then go to managerial and like being an information security manager or CISO from there. So it all depends on what you like or what you want to do, right? But you just have to start from somewhere. And from there, you can actually develop interest in every other roles. And okay, yeah, you're about to say something.
Please. Yeah, I want to say something. What is GRT, please?
GRC is governance risk and compliance. Sorry, GRC. Yeah, governance risk.
GRC.
Yeah, GRC. Yes, governance risk and compliance. So, cybersecurity different roles: security analyst or a SOC analyst. If you see job update, they might say they're looking for information security analyst, cybersecurity analyst. They might even say threat analyst, because right now security analyst now has different roles. Like I said, yeah, like one person might be doing this too, right? And one person might do cybercrime analyst, incident analyst, and cybersecurity engineer, and they call the person cybersecurity analyst. Another person might be an architect and a pen tester, depending on how big or how much the company is willing to spend on security. So, for instance, when I was working, my first place of work, I called myself security engineer. That was a role they gave me there in 2016. And I performed the work of a security analyst, the work of governance, risk, and compliance, and the work of security engineer. I didn't do pen testing, right? Because we don't even have pen tester in the house. We contracted the pen testing part to a consulting firm, right? And then when I moved to another organization, I was only on the information security. I was only on the consultant level, security consultants, information security consultants. And that was when I got to understand a lot about pen testing. However, it's not my strong suit, or I don't have the right platform to do a lot of things, and I got tired. I even spent like 4 months, right? Then I moved to a bank. And when I moved to a bank, my major work was security analyst and security engineer. And they called me cybersecurity analyst. But I did everything security analyst and security engineer, right? And then it now got to a point, they changed my title to threat and vulnerability management. That means I was neither a SOC analyst nor a security engineer, but they also gave me some parts of cybersecurity rules, managing vulnerability. Whenever there is an issue, I fix the issue. I remediate vulnerabilities, and I try to threat hunt, like hunt for threats that might come in the future, or that we have both external and internal threats, using tools and a lot of things, just doing threat hunting. But I was not in the SOC. I was not doing a SOC analyst at some point, right? Then when I moved again, they called me information security risk analyst, and I was doing everything security analyst, governance risk and compliance in a way. But they said it's information security risk analyst. And then at the moment, I'm a security operation analyst. But what I do a bit of security engineer. I do everything SOC analyst. I do everything threat analyst, vulnerability management analyst. I do GRC as well. So it's all depends on organization, right? However, we can start from one role, right? And depending on how lucky we might be or how fortunate we might be, you might be lucky to just even have everything on your laps. But you can't have both the defensive and the offensive on your lap. That one is not possible. You can't break and defend it. You are either breaking or you're either defending. But defending now has different angles to it, right? While offensive is just, I just want to break, okay? And information security manager, it's a term used interchangeably. A manager may be like, okay, you are a manager, like manager for real. You manage all these teams, pen tester, SOC analyst, security engineer, consultants. And a manager might be that they expect you to know everything and you are doing everything, right? So it all depends on the organization and the kind of title they choose to use. And then I think CISO looks like the highest level in cybersecurity. Like once you're a CISO, then you're fine, right? Like that's like the gold standard. And yeah, I mean, that's all about career level. Any question?
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Omodeni.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, this cybersecurity stuff, how did you come into it? Is that what you studied in school? Or maybe after school, you started finding some career paths like learning before you go into it as someone, as an entry level?
Yes.
How did you begin that process?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I studied computer engineering. However, when I was in school, I did not even have an idea of what cybersecurity is. I finished 2015, right? But during my undergraduate days, I just, like the fear of, I don't want to graduate and I don't want to be jobless, right? I said, I will do everything within my power and leave the rest to God. I mean, God's grace is the most important thing. And what I did then was, in my 200 level, I pick up HTML, JavaScript, I mean, web development generally. My 300 level, I started with Java. My 400 level, that was doing my my internship. I did MATLAB, majorly for biometrics and everything. And the 500 level, I did Oracle, OCA, OCP, SQL1, SQL2, and then I moved into networking before NYC, pre-NYC. And also pre-NYC, I ventured to tailoring, you know, fashion design. I went to fashion school. And during NYC, I just acquired a lot of IT skills, right? While I was an undergrad. And NYC, there was really nothing much. I lectured. I was a lecturer, Poly. I taught ND2 and ND1 students, and I was also a computer instructor in my poly as well. So I was just making some small, nice cash, right? And I was also a fashion designer. And job market during the while I was applying for jobs, I told myself, anything IT, right? I'm fine. I have basic understanding of programming, database, and networking. Whichever one comes, I think I'm fine. And I applied during NYC, a lot of rejection emails, a lot of regress emails. And just when this company, 21st Century, clicked. What really made me start a career in cybersecurity was during the interview, after the, in Nigeria, you have to do like assessment test and everything, you passed, and they call you for the third stage interview. And the man was just trying to, so it was a graduate training role, but they're trying to recruit IT trainees, right? And they need different functions in IT. And then the man asked me about my experience. I just said, oh, this is what I did. And then I told him about my project, and he said, oh, you should then, you can be in security because you have an understanding of a lot of IT skills like networking, and there's this thing that you cannot secure what you don't know. If I don't know a structure of a building, I cannot secure it, right? So you need to understand the basic fundamentals. You need to understand how web application work. You need to understand networking. You need to understand OS and everything for you to be able to secure those kind of things. And he said, okay, join security. And that was how my journey in cybersecurity started. And we did a lot of training, learning on the job. And before I know, I get good at it. And that was how the whole story began, actually. I didn't study cybersecurity, but one thing is, when I got the job, it was a lot of reading and researching. And that was why I said, if you want cybersecurity in the beginning, I said, you have to add reading and researching to your hobby. I mean, we started today, that means from today or from tomorrow, I'm giving us the grace of today to go and rest and eat everything. But from tomorrow, we need to dedicate at least 1 or 2 hours of study, all of us, because we have an assignment to fulfill. And every week we present what you think you know. And that is how we can familiarize ourselves with all these technical terms that would help us eventually during interview and while you're on the job. So it's a lot of reading and research, really. Yeah, that's my story in a nutshell.
So I have a question. Oh, sorry. Is anyone?
Hello.
Yes, I
Please
should.
go on.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry, I have a question. Is it all under ethical or non-ethical action?
So there is a non-ethical hacker is a bad guy trying to break a system. Ethical hacking is you are breaking in the system but for a legitimate purpose, trying to understand if there's any loophole and advise your security team to fix it. So hacking is breaking into the system. They will now have ethical one, which is for a legitimate purpose, and a non-ethical, which is for a legitimate purpose, like malicious intent. Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
I'm sure what you're talking about, considering the ethical hacker and non-ethical hacker, I think the non-ethical breaks into the gray hat and the black hat, right?
Okay, so yeah, different terms, right? They call non-ethical black hats. They call them black hats. And they can also be gray hats, right? Because you are neither black or white. You are righteous today, you are righteous tomorrow. You are a sinner today, you are a Christian tomorrow. That kind of a thing. Like you are in between. You are like, you are not cold, you are not hot. That's gray hats. And white hats means, oh yes, I have a plain hand. My hand is clean. I don't do anything unethical. Yeah, you're correct. Any other question?
So my question would actually be, so with these 8 weeks of mentorship and training, is it like possible to get an entry role into cybersecurity jobs?
So the idea really is seriously, it might not be that easy, right? But if we put in the hard work, like I said, we dedicate 1 hour every day or 2 hours every day to study, right? And I believe that when you're consistent with it, at the end of the 8 weeks, seriously, depending on how should I use how passionate you are? Passion, lucky, anything that you are, I think if you're ready to start, I think we can look at your CV together, right? Build your CV with you, okay, and actively apply. And whenever there is a job, maybe somebody call you for a job interview, before that job interview, we go through some interview questions together, like a pre-interview session.
All right.
Yes, and then you get in. And when you get in, it might be hard, but because you have a mentor or someone that can always put you through, then you have no problem. In 3-6 months, while you ask questions and everything, you will definitely know what you are doing. An example would be a mentee of mine in Canada. She studied economics, and right now, she got a job last year, August. And yeah, from that last year to like January, February this year, it's not been easy on her. We literally work together. Like I tell her to share her screen, because she works from, we share her screen, we look at issues together while I do my own work at the same time. But right now, she hardly called me. She's confident in what she does, and maybe we get to talk like once in 2 weeks. She asks questions like once in a while, like once in 2 weeks, once in a month, because she's been able to develop her confidence. And she has no IT background, and she's a security analyst at the moment. In fact, she had a second job. She's doing 2 jobs in Canada as a security analyst, and she's doing really, really well.
Amen. That will be my portion too, in Jesus' name. So I was going to ask like a follow-up question. Like, so I'm guessing like during the course of this mentorship training, there will be tools that would be, shared with us, or like say a website dedicated for learning or something, or do we have to?
Yeah, so that's the idea. So I found, because cybersecurity, the barrier to entry is a bit not too straightforward, right? And because you have to depend on the organizational network to be able to do a lot of practice and everything to understand the environments, majorly you learn more on the job, right? That's when you kind of gain your confidence. And I saw this online tool, tryacme.com.
Yeah,
okay.
I started with that as well, but
yes, I think
because I didn't know how or where to start. There was a beginner section.
Yes, exactly.
I just opened it and I closed it back.
Oh, good. So that's my intent. Like we should just use that as a guideline, right? And give ourselves a target, and at the end of the week, something like this, we talk about it. You ask question, and I can also even show you how this applies to real life, or real life scenario. So that's the plan, actually.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? Only the girls are talking. I think.
Please, can I ask a question?
Yes, please. You can ask.
Regarding that TryAcme stuff, I actually signed in. All right. Okay. And I wanted to start with the stuff, and I hanged at the second question, because that second question is something else. In the beginner section, it was asking that if you want to crack a particular person's
website.
Yes. I had to go online and start checking, because I was so confused. The first question was very easy, because now you just input. But the second question, I don't still get it.
Don't worry.
We're saying that between 1 to 10,000 words or whatever, blah blah. I don't even understand.
Don't worry. We will definitely hack it. That's the idea. I want us to just read, and then we come and discuss whatever we read, and I show you how it applies to normal day life. I think that would be a good approach, really. Instead of me just teaching, and we can't relate to those technical terms. Any other question? Okay,
sorry. Yes, I would like to ask something. In the area of reading and studying, are you going to give us guideline or things to read about, such that when we come the following week, we then discuss about it? Or are we just going, we're supposed to go out there and,
No, you won't. If you go out there and read, you'll be lost in the space anyway. Don't worry, we will definitely have like a guideline as what we need to read. I will even share videos with us. We watch videos,
then perhaps this document that you're sharing, right?
Yes, sure. And the more we kind of familiarize ourselves with all these things, the more we get that confidence, right? And whenever they ask us questions in the interview, I'm sure you can say 1 or 2 things and you can get your job. So the idea of the cybersecurity is, my goal is, I want everybody to have, even if it's an internship program, like an internship or anything, have just get a role in cybersecurity and start. When you start, it might not be easy, but definitely when you have the right person, you have people that you can talk to in the group, we definitely overcome all challenges. And in a few months, you just become a boss on you start mentoring people too. That's the idea. So that's not your
problem. Are you on the WhatsApp group as well?
Yes, I'm on the WhatsApp group.
Oh, okay. Because I have another question, but I guess it should be a personal question.
No problem. No problem. You can DM me. Yeah. So skills required to transition into these roles. Understand the operating system, right? Understand Kali Linux, understand Windows, how it works, the architecture, a lot of things. So that means we need to have a lot of, you have to do a lot of reading. Imagine us reading simplex, duplex, half duplex transmission, that kind of thing can be boring, Imagine us reading multi-processing, multi-threading, how memory works, memory segmentation, But we might not have to go deep. It's not that deep anyway. I mean, you might not even need this, but in some cases, when doing analysis as a SOC analyst, you need to have like a little understanding of all these things, and that can help you do your work properly. Like I said about malware analysis and reversing, hackers, the bad guys, they build malware, and they try to say people should download the malware using a lot of malicious schemes, social engineering, especially like phishing email and everything. And whenever a user downloads a malware or something malicious or a virus, as a security analyst or as a SOC analyst, it is your duty to mitigate this issue, right? To mitigate it and also to contain the incident. Like, say, for instance, somebody download the malware and before it spread across all organizations, you try to contain it to that particular user or a particular network. There's a lot of security control in place, and you need to understand how this malware works. And that's what I'm saying. For a security analyst, even if you're not a pen tester, you still need to pick up what we call coding skills. Even if you're not like writing code, you understand the code, because all this malware are being built with our programming languages and code, such that if you put the malware on the sandbox and you try to reverse it, right, you understand the process, how you are trying to decode what has been encoded. That's a simple term. And while decoding it, right, or de-encapsulating it, you understand the behavior of the malware. And understanding the behavior of the malware, you can actually now protect and prevent such issue. And then IT fundamentals is important, right? IT, anything IT terms, how they work, we have to familiarize ourselves with that. And the networking, which is like the fundamental of security. And going on cloud security, like everybody's moving to cloud now. We don't have our data on premises, is now on cloud. That means you need to start picking up some cloud skills, be it Azure, AWS, or GCP, depending on what is in your organization. However, if they are not even on cloud, you need to start, maybe pick one and learn it. At the moment, I started Class Security 2020, and I'm doing Azure full-time right now, maybe because I use Azure 100%. And I moved from being a security person from on-premise to a cloud security. So I call myself a cloud security analyst because everything I do is on cloud. And I try to understand all the cloud terms, the Kubernetes, your Azure resources, your VMs, a lot of things in cloud. I think for AWS, we have EC2, we have what's this thing called? Your S3 buckets, for storage. So all these terms, you need to familiarize yourself with them. But I think this is like the like at a later stage, really. But we need to pick up all these other ones. Yeah, and there's another thing: operating system, programming language, networking. Pick up any of the cloud service provider, right? So you can call yourself a cloud security personnel. Yeah, I'm sure we'll definitely pick any of these, maybe security, Windows, Unix, or Linux in this triac. They have some fundamentals training on all these things. So. And certifications in cybersecurity. Like I said, cybersecurity requires you to read and study and everything. However, if Team A, B, C apply for a particular job, Team B and Team C does not have any certification, and Team A has Security Plus. If an HR is reviewing their CVs, for instance, and they both claim that they have the same experience, automatically, if they want to invite one person for the interview, they will definitely go with Team A that has Security Plus certification, because they believe that for Team A, they believe that since Team A has Security Plus, that means he or she has basic understanding of security. And for us to have been able to read and pass the exam, then she's fit for the job before the line do the normal interview. So I wouldn't neglect the place of certifications in cybersecurity. It is a must-have, really, even if it's just one. Even if it's just you have S+ and you have a CISSP, you might be good to go. For the hackers, you might have your CEH, your OSCP, and you are good to go. So certifications is not we don't play with it. It's something I do, like you chew it like gum, right? I have a couple of certifications, right? Maybe I think about 6 or 7, and it's not enough for me, right? I still need to do more. I keep doing certifications every day as you have the fund and you have the power to read and everything, but it is really, really important too. And I would advise that for us here that want to move with cybersecurity, the first thing you need to have or that you can work towards is your security plus, CompTIA Security Plus. I can share video with us, I can share documents with us, and maybe you have the target of 3 to 6 months to write the exam, right? And you pass it and you add it to your CV. It's not a waste. Yeah, we also have class security certification, but like I said, let's even face the basic security before you even move to cloud. In fact, you can even move to cloud directly if you want to move to cloud directly, but write your S+ first, and then understand your networking, your OS, your programming, and then pick any of the cloud provider and get started with that. Yeah. Platform for this mentorship is TryAcme. www.tryacme.com. We'll be using this platform for this mentorship program just to give us basic understanding and fundamentals that we need to that needs to get us at least, even if it's a graduate training role or something. And for people that already has IT experience and you want to switch, you may not necessarily move to a graduate. You can actually even move to a mid-senior role in cybersecurity if you have if you are grounded in your IT, like with all these IT skills, your programming and everything. You can even be a DevSecOps person if you're a developer, for instance, and you want to move to cybersec. You can start looking at DevSecOps because you understand coding, and you just need to understand the concept of secure coding, and you can be an application security engineer and the likes. Yeah. Any question?
Hello.
Yeah.
So please, I think I asked this question earlier, but just to get a better understanding, what are the basic language to, to succeed in this field?
In terms of programming, right?
Exactly, because you've been talking about programming and coding and all of those things, and it's paramount that one understands is onions.
Yes, so I think if you
what
really
are
want
the
to,
basic?
Yeah, you can start with Python. Python is like the hot cake now since forever. So you might just start with Python, you'll be fine. Once you understand Python, you can write some scripting, malwares. Yeah, Python.
Okay, so all the CSS, Java, all the CSS, HTML are not really
if you know CSS, HTML, fine, that's fine, right? But if you are just able to pick up one programming language and just want to start with one, I would advise you pick Python.
Python.
Yes, please. And we can actually check LinkedIn, right? And see something. Let's go to jobs and look for a security analyst or whatever. Let me just open one, right? And see something they say. Can you see that they're asking you for certifications? Can you see security plus? This is one, right? At least if you have one out of this. Another thing I want to check. Let me look. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me look for a security engineer, right? And let's look for requirements, blah, blah, blah. See, they're searching for security certification. Can you see? Primarily what's Python. Can we all see that? So Python is like now a thing in cybersecurity. For instance, I'm JJ in Python. I'm picking up Python too. I just started like this year. And before now, I've never known Python and I've been working, right? But it's not like a thing for especially for threat hunting. And threat hunting is now the new norm. Right now, we are the one looking for threats up and down. We are not waiting for threats to come. Right, so I want to looking for threats to, yes, that's where cybersecurity is actually growing into. Like, we don't wait for somebody to break before we defend. We are looking for where can they attack us. So, and we need scripts. We need to write a lot of scripts, like build a lot of script, and primarily Python. Can you see Python also for automation process? We try to automate everything that we do now is Python. So yeah, if you're talking about programming language, Java, everything is fine. Mostly, it's Python is like the main requirement. This is Amazon. This is a pen test. Can you call it? They call it a pen test security engineer. Like I said, they try to use different names for all these things. And if we check, even though they say JavaScript, C++, and everything, but can you see that Python is still something that is very common. So your JavaScript HTML is never a waste, right? But if you want to start with a programming language, Python, and don't get me wrong, you don't necessarily have to write programming for the ladies, or if you think it's not your thing, right? And that is why we have GRC. Let's look at GRC. Let's look at something around GRC. This is the technical part. Let's look at GRC. Let's see if I can see. Governor, they call them, some call it security specialists. Some call it security specialists. But this is WISE. They say they're looking for security specialists. And if you see what they are saying here, did you see anything in Python or programming? No, they're just saying you should understand standards, right? ISO, SOC 2, or SOC, which is SOC is standard organizational control. We have SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3. You need to understand PCI DSS. You need to understand this framework. And in this case, you don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to even know anything technical. You're a security specialist, right? And they said you can either be an auditor or implementer, or you have some ISO certifications. Then normal thing for everybody, have understanding of your Windows or Mac OS or anything, which is normal, right? So that's for let's say this class security specialist. Now they now put cloud. In this thing, they're expecting you to understand cloud, right? But maybe not the technical one, but the cloud frameworks. And they say you should understand some cloud environment provider. Look at it, Azure, GCP, and AWS. You understand it a bit. You're not necessarily a cloud engineer, but you understand how this thing works, because all you do is just to analyze risk, like anything risk and remediation, and just advise your team to fix it. You're the one giving directions in a way. I kind of like GRC because I feel it's kind of moved me fast. I mean, take me to the management level fast. However, the GRC role is not as wide as the technical ones. But once you learn the GRC, you can be sure that you are fine. You're just giving them, you're marshalling wherever they do this, do that. Even though you don't know how to do it, but I think them do this, you get them report and everything. They report to you, try to keep everybody in check, in balance. That's GRC. Yeah, I think so. They just call it a lot of things actually. Let's see if we can get a pen tester. A senior pen tester, they will definitely tell you to know. Can you see this OSWP is a senior of OSCP that I mentioned about. CEH, like that's the, you can start with CEH, you want to be a pen tester. And then you have to know programming. That one is certain. They don't just put it there, but it's something you have to know. You have to know programming language. Yeah, it's compulsory. Okay, how would you even build scripts if you don't understand programming languages? Yeah. I think that is all from me. And any question before we now move to the open source to TRIAC itself? Do you have any question? Anybody with a question? Okay, I'm taking that as a no. So against next week, we cannot log into triacme.com tryacme.com. No, tryacme.com. Let me start. Tryacme.com. Oh, sorry. So this is tryacme.com, right? And then when you get to tryacme.com, register your name and whatever, and come to learn. And so for the purpose of this week, and then because it's a 40-hour course, I want us to start from the fundamentals. And once we do this for this is 40 hours. What do you think? Do you think we can do 20 hours in a week? Are you in for 20 hours in a week? I mean, studying for 20 hours in a week. Ladies and gentlemen, can we dedicate 20 hours this week against next week to do some?
We would try.
That might be tough.
Should we make it 3 weeks?
Yeah.
But also being able to
3 weeks. Okay.
You have to keep presenting because there's
every one of us, we want to start with the pre-security parts, right? I think this pre-security is enough to even, I mean, just for us to have some basic understanding and everything around cybersecurity. Even if at all we cannot even finish this course at the end of the cyber mentorship session, you can always reach out to me if you want to do more. I mean, you have access to anything if you want to do more, right? But I think let's focus on this pre-security and talk about it. I will just use this as guidelines and explain how it works. And I'm currently on leave. I don't know how feasible it is for me to log into my organization network and show you some things. I might be able to do that or take some screenshots at the end of the week, at the end of the 8th week or 7th and 8th week, and show you how I do some analysis. So we can just pick up a particular email and analyze. Let's do some practical stuff together and everything. Maybe at 7th and 8th week, even if I don't have to use my organization network, I can still do some things with my computer. However, I think minimum 10 hours this week. So let's make this divided by 3 and see what we can do in the next 1 to 3 weeks on this pre-security, and we'll discuss about it. Hope it's okay.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah.
That works. We should be able
Okay.
to do that.
So meaning that this week we do cybersecurity introduction and network fundamentals. Just these two. How does that sound? Just these two alone for this new week, and then we'll discuss about it. If you have any issue trying to work a particular, like I don't know who said so, it wasn't Diola. Put it on the group or chat me up. We can always resolve it together and we move on. And at the end of the day, you know, we actually have a certification, even if it's free. But if you put that on your CV, you know that you've been doing something in cybersecurity. So even if we don't have the money to do S+ now, like Security Plus now, we actually get some free certifications to add to your CV and your portfolio. And that can actually get you your dream job or your to-be dream job. And then you get your dream job afterwards, whichever one is fine. Okay, I think that is all from my head. I think networking can be a bit boring, but yes, let's do this too. Wait, there's nothing there actually. Wait, there is really nothing. There is a bit of something there, Sha. No, this one is too small. We can't do that too. Sorry, guys. Let's take the first 2 theory. Let's do 1, networking and how web work for this new week. And if you cannot finish it, that's fine. But at the end of by Saturday, Sunday, I want to see everybody's screen and how many percentage we've done. We have to keep ourselves in check. Is that fine?
That's perfect.
All right. Yeah, I think that is all for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ezekiel. Ezekiel, you didn't ask any question. Don't worry, next week, we want to present your screen to us and show us what you've done and what you've learned. And you will be the second person to go. And then Rachel. No, Tunde will be the third person. So Ezekiel, Sheyi, and Tunde, you guys will present next week. You tell us what you've learned. during the course
All
of the
right, no problem then.
All right, guys. See you on WhatsApp.
Thanks, Ellen.
All right, sir. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Bye. And you can send me your email address on the group, then I can share the slide with you if you want the slide.
Please just drop a hi on the group so we'll know.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I will do that. I will do that now.
Thank you.
All right, yeah. Bye.